Welcome to Politics Enhanced. Thank you for clicking on the video. And before I begin, I just want to share my thoughts and prayers with President Trump and his family. I don't know if you guys have seen what happened, but he was just shot at one of his rallies in Pennsylvania. And we absolutely disavow any political violence whatsoever. That has no place in our hearts or in this country. And we really hope that he has a speedy recovery so that he can get back on the campaign trail. In addition, I also want to thank you guys for subscribing and for clicking on this video. My last video has done very good, so thank you to everybody who's been helping out with that and doing their part to help this channel grow. I really appreciate it. Today, we're going to focus on the Senate election this year in 2024, and as you can see, I've already filled out the safe Republican states and the safe Democrat states. I'm not going to do margins in this video. I'm just going to speak and show who I think is going to win each state. And I'm going to start with the easiest flips. So first and foremost, I would like to discuss Ohio. Ohio should be a very easy flip for the Republicans. The state has drifted very far to the right, and Democrats have been getting absolutely destroyed at a federal level and even in a congressional level in the smaller down ballot races in this state. Ohio is becoming a very conservative state, and it's really lost its bellwether status. It used to be the deciding swing state in almost every presidential election for 60 years. But in the last 8 years since Trump has been on the scene, it's been a very right-leaning conservative state. The next easiest flip that Republicans should be able to get is West Virginia. And West Virginia is one of those states that used to be one of the most sapphire blue in the country, and now it's one of the most ruby red states. And that goes on a federal level, but it also goes on a congressional and down ballot level too. And you look at West Virginia, and I think it's very, very likely that Senate, the guy running for Senate, Jim Justice, should win over Glenn Elliott. And that would absolutely that would give Republicans a majority already. And we haven't even filled out the rest of the map. But this is a very Republican favorable Senate map. And you're also in a very Republican favorable environment with Trump at the top of the ticket. The next state that I think should be very easy to flip would be the state of Montana. And Montana is a very conservative state on a federal level, and it's kind of been a fluke in the Senate that, John Tester has won in 2012 and 2018. And this time around, it's a Republican favorable year. You definitely should be expecting Tim Sheehy to win in the Senate. Now I'd like to talk about the Rust Belt, because the Rust Belt this is the true bellwether of the country right up here, along with Arizona and Nevada. But we're going to start with the state of Wisconsin, which is a very close state either way, and it's trending to the right of the country. However, I think that Tammy Baldwin is going to win. She's an incumbent senator, and it's very hard to unseat incumbent senators. In addition, we don't really have much information about the Republican candidates in the state of Wisconsin. As the race gets closer, I'm sure that will change. But for right now, I do think, unfortunately, that Tammy Baldwin is going to stay in the Senate for another term. And that takes us to Michigan. Now, this race is very interesting because it's the first time since 1994 that you've seen an open Senate election in the state of Michigan. And what I mean by that is it's the first time where you haven't had an incumbent senator on both sides. So it's completely open, and Michigan is really anybody's game. The Democrats haven't thrown up their nominee. The Republicans really haven't put up their nominee as well. If Trump is winning this state, he should definitely be able to help Republicans down ballot. And in a state like Michigan that's pretty much very elastic, but it's also a close state too, I do think that the Republicans, whoever that may be, would have a narrow victory in the state of Michigan. You do have the Upper Peninsula, the Upper area is probably going to turn out a lot for Trump, and that'll help down ballot. And in addition, the Detroit area, Traverse City, it's still a Democratic stronghold, but not like what it was in 2020. So if Trump endorses the candidate, that'll significantly help them in the state of Michigan, in addition to there not being an incumbent senator on either side. Next, we'll focus on the state of Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania has been on a Democrat streak in terms of their senators. You saw Pat Toomey retire, and John Fetterman won by a lot. It was not a close election. And even though that was a Republican favorable year, I do think that this time around, Pennsylvania, it's going to be close, You do have Trump at the top of the ticket. You have David McCormick as the Republican nominee, and he's only 4 points behind Bob Casey right now. And we're in July. Early voting starts September, October. So as the race heats up, it'll get closer, and maybe he could pull it off. I think, I think he'll win. I think he'll win. And the polling isn't really the best in the Rust Belt. It does tend to overestimate Democrats. So I do think, as of right now, if the stars align, that he'll catch up and McCormick will pull off a victory in the state of Pennsylvania. Now let's go west to Nevada and Arizona. So in Nevada, you have Sam Brown as a Republican, and you have Jackie Rosen, who is a first term Democrat senator. In 2018, she unseated a Republican incumbent. So this is Nevada is an interesting state because it's trending opposite of Arizona. Nevada is trending more Republican. You have conservative Californians moving there, really pushing the state into the Republican column, but it's taking a while. But this time around, you have Sam Brown, and he really appeals to the people of Nevada. And I think you're going to see a victory for the Republicans. You're going to unseat Jackie Rosen, and Sam Brown will be the next senator out of Nevada. Now, as for Arizona, this is a tricky state to predict because Ruben Gallego is a very strong candidate. He was a Navy SEAL. He was in Iraq. Actually, I'm not sure if he was a Navy SEAL, but he was in the military. And, he did serve the country, and that does have a very strong appeal in the state of Arizona. For this reason, I think that right now he's probably favored to win, especially if the nominee is Carrie Lake. I do think that if you really want to balance the ticket and have a good, strong candidate going up against Ruben Gallego, you should really nominate Mark Lamb because he's a sheriff. He's got that same appeal as Ruben Gallego, and then it more so becomes a race on policy, a debate on policy, not so much about experience. So if it's Mark Lamb, he wins. If it's not Mark Lamb, he loses, but we'll have to see who the nominee is. And lastly, we go to the state of Virginia. This is a very close state. Trump is making a play for it. The Republicans have a very good Senate candidate, Hung Kao, and he's going up against Tim Kaine, who was Hillary Clinton's vice presidential nominee in 2016. However, even though Hung Kao is doing good, the Republicans seem to be doing good in the state. It's hard to tell with polling, but as of right now, I do think that Tim Kaine would still win. Even if Trump wins the state, Tim Kaine would probably still win because you do have a lot of Northern Virginia voters who tilt the state more in the Democratic column, unfortunately. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, this is my first Senate prediction map. Thank you for watching. And please like, comment, and subscribe down below for more content. And I look forward to the next video. Thank you guys. Have a good day.